You ready?
Yep.
It's awesome. Well, do it up, John. You're ready to roll, man. You got it.
Okay.
Take it.
All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? It's December 30th. Oh, wait. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's December 30th. We are back with the John and Ron show, or the Ron and John show, or the John, Ron, and John show. Whatever it is, we're back. It's December 30th. One more day left of this crazy year of 2020. We're looking forward to 2021. You know, we're all excited about next year, you know, with the vaccine coming out. Some people may take it, some may not, but I think we're going to get things more under control. But I'm very glad to be here again with Ron right before the year ends. Ron, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
That's good. Ron's doing well. Ron's in the perfect area with the weather's like 70, 75 degrees every day.
It's been pretty good, man. I don't need that, though. We can take that off.
You can take that off. You can take that off.
You're like 3,000 miles away from me. So.
I know. Well, you know, you never know. If somebody walks in my office here and says, John, put on a mask, I'll put one on. Anyway, so it's great to see you, Ron. The year's almost out. Me and Ron have a lot of stuff to talk about. I just want to start this program off just real fast. My good friend, I'm wearing my pressure washing outlaw shirt. If you guys can see it, there's something on the back as well. Corey Flannery, his wife's been dealing with this for a couple of years. Just to throw this at you guys fast. She's got colon cancer. They've been in treatment. She had surgery just a few days ago. John Sacco put out a link. He asked me to share it around the world in our industry, which I did. And then Ron and I had a discussion. We put it on our show last week. And we're very happy to say Facebook did shut us down like 3 times, Ron, as Ron knows. But we put the link out there. They raised thousands of dollars. But, you know, there's never enough money when you're dealing with this kind of stuff. So our thoughts, our prayers are for Vicky to get through this. She's got another surgery coming up. So we're going to keep her in our prayers, and Godspeed, Vicky and Corey. What a great couple they are. And Corey's a very passionate guy in the industry. And I got this shirt from him maybe a year ago. He was one of my garage classes, and great guy, passionate. And I did a post about being passionate in this industry today. And so here we are, Ron. So what's going on?
I met Corey in Houston 2 years ago, man. He's a good guy. He was helping Craig with all the F9 stuff, which was cool. Really cool. So
yeah, that's cool. Well, he's a passionate guy. I put up a post today. I'm probably not going to be able to find it here, but I actually took it off the window cleaning magazine from Michael Draper. That basically what it's saying is I'm going to have to search it out, but we're very passionate in what we do because you're basically taking a business. It becomes born when you start it, and you're nurturing as it goes, and it's like a family. It really is. You raise kids. It's the same thing in a certain sense, and you're very, very passionate. If I can get on that fast, I'll find the quote on that. That came from Window Cleaning magazine I got in the mail today, and I just, I love to read about the industry, so I read everything that comes my way. If somebody sends me something, says, John, it's 25 pages, read this, I read it. I'm not the guy that sits by the TV watching TV. I want to read about the industry. Ron and I want to keep pushing the industry forward. We're going to talk about history. But, this is our chosen field. And we're all in this together. Will the industry unite? Nah, probably never unite. But we all are trying to on the same end goal. We all want to go to events, or a lot of us do. We want to meet each other, shake hands, and network. And that's what's memorable. And Ron can tell you that Ron's done hundreds of events.
I think I think it's going to unite. I disagree with you, John. I think it's going to unite. I really do. I believe it's going to unite. So, oh, by the way, I gave away. Okay, now see, I got that feedback again, John. Is that your phone?
Yeah, no. Okay, I put it away. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's turn mine off too. Nope, no feedback. I got no feedback again. Okay, good.
Okay.
That feedback drives me nuts. Anyway, so John and I came on tonight. We want to talk. I don't know if John saw it. John and I, why this show works for us is we don't always agree on things. We don't agree on things a lot.
That's an understatement.
So tonight, John wants to vet like instructors in the industry. We're going to walk you guys through a little bit of history, and Doug Latimer's here right now. He's also one of the founding members of the PWNA.
It's the reason why they changed the name.
which is not when the it's not when basically teaching began, but teaching really didn't begin until and I've been in this industry since 1984. First and foremost, the reason that instruction is very important is and this is a huge tip. All I ever did all my life was in my own organization, my business, was teach and train. And if you didn't have a good program inside of your own business, whether you're Elon Musk or whoever you are, if they don't have systems in place, not just the systems, but how to instruct people and teach people how to do things inside of your company. I call my company an organization because it's your own organization. And if you don't do that, first and foremost in your own, you cannot replicate and repeat success. You can't do it, Right. And a lot of these guys, if you really want to watch a good movie, watch that Founding McDonald's movie, because those McDonald brothers, they really understood, and they were the pioneers of the franchise industry. And we've seen what McDonald's has grown to become. Now, I don't talk about McDonald's as being the best burger on the planet, but they are certainly the largest fast food franchise provider, and they got there because they're able to do the training. They're not just able to serve you the same bad burger over and over again, but they do it all over the world. They serve you that same hamburger and it tastes the same. And I don't think a lot of guys realize that this training's been going on since, the industry began. But I think the training, what would you say, what was the year the training really took off? I mean, we've had exponential growth in the last 5 or 6, but I mean, when did it really start going, John, that you know of, when like the orgs got off their butts and actually started doing something? When did that really happen?
Well, I got into the industry in 1996. I didn't find, I didn't get on a home computer maybe to 1998. And I found a lot of guys on there from anywhere from Joe Walters, Robert Hinterleiter, Chris Tucker, Ron Musgraves. What I learned was there was a organization going back to, I don't know this yet, but they were promoting education since 1992. That was the PWNA, but then you had CETA before then. IWCA might be a year older. There was a lot of education out there, and but it really, I would say, it really took off from the later 1990s into the early 2000s, and then as we jump ahead to now, it's really gone full speed ahead. The problem with now is, though, people, I'm going to make this clear. We got a lot of con artists that came into the industry. You got guys, all they want to do is make money off the newbies, and they are newbies themselves, a lot of these guys. Some of them aren't. But if you go back in time, when Chris Tucker was talking about cleaning roofs so you don't blast them, he used to call bleach the love, put the love on the roof. H. Lockheed goes back a lot of years. I can name instructors left and right. If you went back in the 90s, you had the David Olsons. I mean, God, you had so many people. The Doc Reismans.
Let's talk about Doc Reisman, Phil Acklin, Chris Netter. I mean, we know all these guys out there that existed. Right. I mean, you said you could name all of the presidents that rose up over the years and whatnot.
Right.
But when you talk about that type of training, because Doug said, well, it was the PWNA that started it, and CETA was before PWNA. So, CETA, I would say in our organization, probably CETA was probably ahead of what was the formal training, like where it was, being formally done. What I believe, and this is just my opinion, these are all my opinions. I believe what the orgs did early on, and I think the orgs have often repeated these mistakes, that instead of embodying lots of people to do the training and building a real system of training where people could virtually get trained all over the world. Okay. Sure. But they instilled the training to one guy in whatever field and made that guy the guru. And you're only one guy. You can't do it. And I think how the training has changed now is we have the technology and these platforms now. And I want to say something. John and I don't agree on this one. There are shysters out there that are stealing your money.
Yeah.
Okay. There's stone cold guys out there that are trying to sell you SEO BS packages, and there's guys out there trying to teach you training that don't know what they're doing. They've never done it, but they're gonna tell you to go buy, not even a Home Depot pressure washer, some pressure washer at the swap meet or something, electric. Right. You plug it in the wall and use it.
Right.
Guys, that's not professional grade equipment. These guys don't know what they're talking to. They want to say that get up start package with a manual for $3,000. And it winds up being a waste of money. What you guys really need to do is get off of your butts and come to a free training event that's put on by somebody. And a lot of times the free training events, guys will sit there and go, well, you got to really pay for good training. You know what? When you're talking advanced training, I definitely believe that there's a need to pay for advanced training. Like John puts on his garage thing, he really puts on something it's very valuable, and it's worth all the money. And it's going to take learning curves, so you can go right to making money off quickly at stuff you would bumble around for 5 or 10 years and make mistakes with, because that's when you get into advanced training. But this fundamental training that is being done out there by people like myself and others, it's needed. It's necessary. When guys talk about, hacks and $99 guys and these guys they can't compete with, the reason that they can't compete with these guys is because they're not doing anything right. It's not that the $99 guy's not making money. The $99 guy sometimes makes more money than you guys. Yeah. And people don't even realize that. I had a guy that bid a fast food contract out for exactly $99. We were getting $265. I'm not going to tell the story, but the guy only spent like 17 minutes per location. I mean, we would spend for $265. We'd be there 3.5 hours. So the guy was making more money than we were. He would do the stores in 3 nights. It would take us 3 weeks, to do the stores.
Well, you know what? There's something to be said about that. I talk about it in my garage class fast. A lot of these guys, just because a guy's charging $99, most of them don't know what the hell they're doing, but some of them really know what they're doing. In the park garage world, I said the company a million times, and I bid against them. It's standard parking, SP Plus. They come in like 2 cents a square to clean these garages. And of course, my price is way above that, so I teach the guys in my class how to sell your services and how to beat them. I haven't beat them yet, but I'm very close. But I have ways to get the garages that really want stuff done a certain level compared to what they do. But they have it figured out. They're charging 2 cents a square foot, and people are like, oh, my God, the low ball, they're terrible. They got 26,000 employees. So who do you think's winning here? So there's different ways to go about it. Like Ron said, the $99 guy out there, I know some guys like to make fun of them. I try to keep myself – you can have some laughs, but – some of them upsell everything. So $99 gets them in the door. And, most of them don't realize that, but some of them do, and they have big companies. But never counteract a company, count them out, that comes in low. It's not a bait and switch either. People think it's a bait and switch. No, they will clean the house for $99. But then they're going to do the walkway, they're going to do the patio, they're going to do the fence. And let me just put a plug in here fast about Washmont University. When you first get in this industry, like most of us have, I don't think Ron ever did, we get into residential because it's the easiest to get in. The most successful and largest companies and the highest profits is commercial, right? So let me just shut that down. My sister's calling me. So the point I want to make here is in Washmont University, Marco Ramonda, his father started with Cedar, Ron. Did you know his father started with Cedar back in the 80s?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think Cedar started around 87, 88, and PW morphed out of them. But Marco Ramondo, and let's give credit where it's due. Ron likes to organize. Ron would have been a good union president, like I was. He would have been good.
I don't know, man. I would have got.
Yeah. No,
I might have wound up with brick shoes on.
Yeah, because I was told when I was the president, they said, John, the problem with you is you're too volatile. Because I will fight you tooth and nail. So maybe Ron would take that to a different level. But in the Washmont University, now his father started with Cedar way back when. Marco and Ron, Ron's really set this thing up because Ron's got all the information worldwide, not even nationwide. So a big part of that is about commercial power washing, because residential in most of our country, I'm not saying other countries, is easy to get in first. And then guys complain about the $99 guy but the real big money, if you want to go to the next level, And the only reason I have this shop and warehouse here and this office is because of commercial. It really comes down to commercial for us. And the bigger money isn't that, but I never count out residential. We have thousands of customers. But just be leery. When somebody's doing a $99 thing, some of those guys know exactly what they're doing. And it's a business model. And that's why I don't give out my prices on the net, because every business model is different. I pay my employees probably more than anybody that you know. I mean, these guys, my lead tech can make $800 in a day. So I have different incentives. So I don't talk pricing, but never discount these guys, because the only way to figure this stuff out is to go to these events and talk to the people who have actually done this stuff. So,
hey, John, how do you like that?
Yeah, that's nice.
Except where our names are right in the middle of the contractors first. Oh, well. One of these days.
That was the best bulletin board in the end. That was number one by far. Nobody was close.
Hey, it's still alive. You haven't been there, man. There was like seven.
No, I go there.
7 people actually posted there today. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, you know something? I know my website, my links are there. It's got a lot of, what do you call it, Ron? A lot of feed, whatever you want to call it. So
we used to call it link juice, but
yeah, link juice. Yeah, I'm getting old. Yeah, link juice. That sounds kind of pornographic, but we'll just leave it there. But you know, people, there's so many things out there. You know, between Ron and I, the people say, John, why are you doing something with Ron? And they tell Ron, why are you doing something with John? Well, because between the two of us, we've got 60 years experience. Now, we're not a guy trying to sell you anything. Ron does all these events. His goal is to have you guys come in free. And I'm totally on board with that. I think the niche markets, like Ron said earlier on this video tonight, these specialty things, you're going to go higher end. Yeah, there should be a cost to that, because of course the teachers a lot of money to get to where they got in the first place. But you got to start with the free to bring the guys in there so they can see, get their lips wet, how much money you can make in with the flat work. Like Ron was a king of the flat. I call Ron a king of commercial sales. There's a reason for that. And there's a lot of money in there. You get your foot in the door. It's repetitive. It's residuals coming in. It's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that. And, you know, Facebook, you can say, hey, Bruce, good buddy of mine. Facebook, you can say, yeah, Facebook's a nice thing. I'm never going to discount Facebook. But I'm going to tell you guys, I can't make this more profound. You're never going to forget when you sit next to a Ron Musgraves or John Tornabene, or you're at an event, you're networking at the bar, you're in like Everett Abrams' class. I'll throw his name out there. Marco Romano's father built these machines that could be World War III machines. They're so solid. And you get to talk to these people in person. So I'm always going to be a fan of that. But I always support Facebook, as Ron does, and internet connections. But if you really want to get something that's impacting, I tell people all the time, I've been to multiple Billy Joel concerts. If you tell me to listen to Billy Joel for 20 minutes on the internet, I'm going to lose interest after 5 minutes. You tell me I'm going to go to Madison Square Garden like I've been to see Billy Joel, I could sit there 5 hours listening to that guy. He's a genius. So in person makes a difference.
Hey, John, this question here, take a look at that. If you can't finish reading that, it says, I tried negotiating with the PWAC to go together now. They are, as CETA as a member suggested then that president, but he said not going to happen. Here we are together. So years ago, he tried to get CETA and PWA to join forces. Probably Doug doesn't know who the guy is. You heard Daryl Mirza say who got these guys to join forces. I know that the guys right now want to take credit for it because, you know, they're actually having it. But I actually was the one that broke the barrier between CETA and the PWNA.
I remember that.
And they actually joined forces. The guys running the show now don't know it. That was in 2011, about 8 years before they actually did join forces. And, you know, Sherry Helms was had the job, your gal, you know now. She was the director.
Oh, Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie. She was the director.
Yeah.
She was the director at the time. Right. And, you know, Jeff Helms and their family owned the Landa dealership there in Charlotte, North Carolina. They were one of the biggest dealers in the country for a while until the guy actually in my area knocked them out of their top spot. But, you know, there's a lot of history here, John. And what I wanted to tell these guys is that I wanted to kind of walk them through. We were talking when you and I got together, the wood restoration industry. Well, let's do this. The kitchen exhaust and the fleet industry had already evolved. We walked into that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That had evolved started in the 70s, went on during the 80s, got better during the 90s. They were already certifying. There was guys out there. They pretty much, the craft was just, it was already, it already, like they had a standard. They had standard operation procedures and practices that they were doing, right? I mean, wouldn't you say that that's probably the start of our industry was the fleet washing and the hood cleaning was where things really started in this industry?
Yeah, of course, because both of them are huge market.
Yeah. And then you remember this, John, the house washing guys and the deck guys, because we came on when the deck industry was starting to evolve.
Yes.
And the deck industry was starting to get big. And then, see, these guys don't even understand. What formed off the deck industry was the house washing industry. It didn't come house washing and then people started doing decks. Decks came along during the late 90s and people started, because prior to that, people don't realize this. Painters were the people doing decks. They were the ones restoring the decks. And then all of a sudden they realized that, wow, there's this pressure washing tool that could that can refurbish a deck, and we can put this oxalic acid on these decks, make them look like brand new, and then refinish them for people and charge them a decent amount of money. And that's where Chris Detter was the first guy I know, because you and I were on Yahoo Radio in 1999. You remember that? We were trying to listen to him, man. We're on our AOL dial-up speakers, man.
Yeah, God. You're having a thing like trying to listen.
And you're trying to like listen like that, man. Yeah. And you're talking to these guys all over the country, which at that time, man, people think the technology is exciting. Now we were like ecstatic. We're like, wow, man, we're talking to a guy in Georgia, New York City, and holy cow, and the history there that these guys don't understand is like all that industry there evolved, and then everything else started rolling in after it because people thought I was nuts. You remember that, John? No, Ron Musgrave, you don't wash just sidewalks. You're out of your mind. There's no business washing sidewalks. You don't have those units washing sidewalks out there. You're out, no one's going to pay you to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And look at here now. I always said this then. I said that the crossover to every industry, and I want everybody to listen to this closely. The crossover to every industry, every hood cleaner can wash sidewalks. Every fleet washer can wash sidewalks. Every house washer can wash sidewalks. Sidewalks will become the biggest thing in this industry because in every venue of washing, even deck restoration, there's what? Sidewalks.
Right.
Every place you go, there are sidewalks to be washed.
Well, Ron, you know why I say this. Ron knows I say this. The world is built on concrete. It really is. You want to go to Dubai? I've never been there. Maybe I'll be there in a year or two. We'll see. But the world is built on concrete. Manhattan's built on concrete. Shanghai, where Perry Tate is right now, oh my God, that city's huge in China. Built on concrete. The world is built on concrete. It really, really is. And, the biggest mineral in the world is salts. Salts. Without salts, there's no life. The salts will attack concrete as fast as you can blink because concrete is porous. You get salts in there. Even in Arizona never snows, or it's it snows in the mountains. But the walkways, there's salts. Salts is the number one mineral in the world. Mm-hmm. Now, salts go after concrete. They'll soak in there and they crack it. You want to clean it. Hot water is a big thing to use on that. Also, pressurized water. Period. You want to really dissolve it down. So Ron's right. People used to laugh at Ron because Ron
and John. That was early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
We saw probably the wood restoration industry do most of its growth. We talk about. Let's go through the teachers because there's more than that. We forgot about Tim Cross. Do you remember Tim?
Yeah, of course I remember Tim Cross.
Yeah, and then there was a couple of guys that just did log cabins and things like that. I can't remember their names, but Tim had an entire school up there in Milwaukee, and
right.
but I think that Chris Detter Pete Marente, Henry Bachman. Who am I missing right there? Everett Abrams. And nobody even knows those guys were all joined forces together at one point. I mean, they formed the alliance. They formed the alliance training group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, everybody always thinks that like these private clubs, associations, schools, man, they've been going on for a long time. Wait a minute, Rappy. We won't talk about.
Russell Sissel. I talked to him. This year.
We won't talk about who is the founder of Rappy, but because I don't think he wants to forget that era in his life.
He lost thousands of dollars.
But people don't understand that you and I, John, we've seen this history. We've seen the trials, the tribulations, what's worked, what's failed, and it's been a bad, repetitive of failure and failure over and over again. I mean, there's not a lot that's been, I want to say, solid through all of this. I mean, these guys maybe might be there and they may have reinvented themselves, but there's nothing that's really said, hey, I'm doing the dominating. I'm here, doing this. I know you remembered this. You remembered we talked about this before. Everybody always thought when I opened PWI, man, Ron's going to open an organization. And I remember, I can go show you the blog. I made it in 2001.
Yeah, I wanted you to. I really wanted you to.
I said this industry would not be ready for another 10 years.
You did say that.
I said it won't be ready for another 10 years. And it wasn't. I was wrong about that. It wasn't ready.
Probably longer than 10 years.
It was longer than 10 years. We missed it probably by about 5 years. But reality is, John, all these people that have been in this industry, they're all great teachers. They're all great instructors. There's been literally hundreds of them. And you know what? I want to say this right now. If we forgot to mention your name, I apologize, man, because you know what, man? There are hundreds of them. And then we can step right through there and go right through the mid. When NCE started in 2008, basically, let's roll back to 2006 because you got the birth of the UMCC. Okay,
2005.
You had the birth of the Profit UAMCC, and then in 2009, technically in March, Carlos Gonzalez turns it to a nonprofit organization. So from 2009 on, now it was a nonprofit organization. Basically, we talked about this. All these orgs, whether it was CETA, PWNA, IWCA, they've all had some trouble, dormancy issues. They've gone from 700 members back to 200 members, 400 members back to 2 members. I mean, UMCC went back from a few hundred members to like 6 people, I think. You know what I mean? Back in 09, 2000, I think around 2011. 11, 12, somewhere around there. Yeah, it went off the rails.
You're right, 2012.
Yeah. And I mean, we said we weren't going to say dates, but we're, guys, these dates, somebody comes on and goes, he's lying. You know what? We're old. We might get the dates wrong. It was a Biden moment. You know what I mean? That's all. You know what I'm saying? But John, it's happened. And, in all of this, when I started this, man, everybody thinks that like, oh, Ron, wants to do all the training. No, if you really want to know the truth, when I was running real hard with NCE, I rarely did any teaching. People don't even realize that. I didn't do any classes. When I was running hard with the UMCC, I didn't even do any classes. Hell, I didn't even do the first class I did with the UMCC in 4 years was at the last convention I was at. I did a class. You know what I mean? Other than that, I hadn't even taught a class, because when you're running events, there's no time to teach classes, and that's usually the way it goes because you got too many other things on your mind, making sure that you have teachers and things like that going on. But you got Carlos Gonzalez. Let's help me go over the current ones right now. Who do we got currently? We got whether they're organizations or clubs or private individuals.
You forgot Greg Rensler. Remember him?
He in Indiana.
Huge wood guy, multiple trucks. There's so many people in the past. I'm a big guy about vetting people.
John, the PWNA was taken over by the wood industry. Do you remember when it was 90% wood guys?
Yeah, they went through that phase. It was mostly wood guys. There was a while there. I mean, you had Sunbright Supply, which is huge. That was started by Chris Dedler, who became PWA president, and Pete Marente. They love wood. Just to jump ahead, Chris Dedler, in case you guys don't know who he is, he's one of the earlier presidents. He was a president. He was the first PWA president that decided to use the internet full bore, and he came on PWI, Ron. You know that. He had his own little area in there, and he was trying to express himself on the internet. That was so unusual to do that. But, Chris Dedler ended up, in case you guys didn't know that, Fleet Wash, you guys heard of Fleet Wash, the company. They make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I heard like $500 million a year. It could be higher. I don't know. He became a regional manager for them when he retired.
But back up. Before Chris came on, they were only doing 99, million. They
were probably doing 99 million when he got in there. You know what happened to him was
John, when we say that, do you understand? When we say 99 million, there are people out there that do not believe this, John. They don't believe it.
No, they have no idea what dealing with. I mean, I'm dealing with companies that make billions.
Yeah.
Billions. I mean, look, the biggest, I think the largest companies in the world, like where I live in Long Island, New York, the largest company here is a cleaning company. They have 1,500 employees. The largest, right? People don't realize that. Everything's got to be clean. Now you got COVID. There's sanitizing, but you got houses, you got offices, you got internal inside, you got the outside. Listen, we are people that, very good companies, Ron, you know this, like the Amazons of the world, the Best Buys. We used to do 21 Best Buy stores a month. They keep everything neat because they know if it's clean, people want to go in. They don't want to go into a sloppy place. My company does one of the most high-end restaurants on Long Island. We've been doing it for a long time now, every month. This is all the outside. I don't go inside. It's a different story. I'm very happy with what my company does. But cleanliness means, just means so much to any kind of company. So it's huge. And, landscaping companies are huge. I don't think there's too many landscaping companies, Ron, that's got 26,335 employees. If there are, I don't know about them. But, that's also a way of cleaning, too, to keep everything cut, green, and everything else. But our industry is huge. Huge. And Ron and I have the same belief here. It's not your statewide. It's not your regional wide. It's not America wide. It's worldwide. It's worldwide. There's people reaching out to me from Australia.
Look at this question. Obviously, Jay is, he's obviously something to do with kitchen exhaust cleaning.
Yes.
We'll go right there. And obviously maybe Station 96, maybe he's a firefighter. And, people don't realize why the hood cleaning industry is so huge. It's a fire protection business. We always look at these things in the industry, right? Fleet washing, it is a safety business.
It all comes down to Craig Harrison said.
DOT regulations require the safety equipment to be clean and seen, but people don't understand.
Listen to that. They don't realize that. Craig Harrison brought it up on PWI, Pressure Washing Institute. You guys can hear a lot more about that down the road because they're going to, if all goes well with me, they're going to present. But you know something? Craig Harrison said this like 15 years ago. He kept hammering the point home. We all know and love Craig Harrison, or most of us do. He's got some great products. They're safe, the F9 products. But he hammered this home years ago. He said, listen, all you guys talk about is cleaning. Clean, clean, clean. That clean's big. He kept bringing up health and safety. Health and safety. Health and safety. And a lot of guys back then gave him a lot of ration of crap over that. It's like, hey, listen, Craig, take your health and take your safety and take it to a hospital. It really is. It really is. It is that. It is that. I mean, you don't want to slip and fall on concrete, which gets all the grime. You don't want to fall down the stairs like in park garage where we clean quarterly, because the tips are steel. You don't want to get someone to get hurt because they'll take your company down. And it's like if you watch food. Listen, my wife watches all the cooking channels. This is why I'm a little on the overweight side, because she's a great cook. But in the cooking world, presentation is so important. I always thought I was at a 5-star restaurant last night on a wine tasting thing, and it cost like hundreds of dollars to be in this thing, but the presentation is so big. So let's parlay that into our industry. You go into Best Buy, you go into Peter Luger's People Know Steakhouse here, number 33 in the world. I go to both of them. You go to places like that, and it really is presentation, it's cleanliness, and most important thing is Craig Harrison said it. It's health and safety first. It really is.
Yeah,
and it involves around cleanliness.
But getting back to this, John, I want to try to mention everybody here. So we bring us through the mid 2000s. Right. You had alliance training that was big then. Okay, then you had these guys all, like everything happens. There's always a breakup. Okay, and you got this breakup, and then now instead of having one training, we got 5 because we got now independent people doing their own thing. I don't know what the wizard calls his deal. Wood Restoration Plus.
Well, Woods and Nation Deck Restoration Plus, yeah.
Deck Restoration Plus. And then then Alliance carried on and did their own thing. Sunbright went their own direction, doing another type of training, and then you got so many of these other training people, all the entire time. I'll tell you what, there is one person that I can say has been solid, whether it was the best training or not. People might argue that. Deluxe and Power Wash University pretty much was probably one, besides the Pressure Washing Institute, that has carried the training all the way through and bettered the training. I mean, they've gotten better. They're better than they're better than they once were in '95. Of course, when you had to get those old DVDs. Actually, no, I'm sorry. VHS tapes, man. 95 VHS tapes. You had to get the VHS tapes, plug them into your VHS. For a lot of the younger guys, they don't know what a VHS tape is. I made a tape, but they had to plug that in. And those are pretty hard ones to watch back then. And I know Michael Hindeleiter, another guy that's been big on training. And we're going to mention everybody that we can, John. So if I forget somebody, let us know. Carlos Gonzalez, man, ever since he came on to the scene, people don't know. They know him as Mr. EBC. Carlos was training in his blood. When he first came on, he wanted to do training. That's what Carlos wanted to do. And Carlos now completely does training, and I guess he's got something big coming up. I've heard about it. I guess pressure washing events or something like that. And, I mean, I know Carlos, his biggest accomplishment, obviously, is the invention of EBC, and probably his second one is he's done his gas station training things.
Yeah, he's got a good portfolio. He took the UMCC out of it. They were dead and buried. So he got them going. Then he moved on. And then obviously Ron came in after that and kept it and blew the thing up. Carl's got a good resume, very top line resume. He's big with gas stations. I know Carlos for a long time. I donated the stuff he's done.
Well, Carlos built his own business up to be a pretty good sized wash business. I mean, he was doing, as an individual operator. You know what I mean? We always
he got about as large as you can get as an owner operator.
22. I would watch him on the internet. He would post every day he was working. Every day.
Carlos has got that. Look, I had that mindset as well too at one time. So I moved on from that. Nothing wrong with him doing that, but he was so passionate in what he did. He wanted to get the job done the way he wanted. So he was doing hundreds of these gas stations. And then, Carlos is a smart guy. And Carlos knows Ron and I are working on his jersey stuff. He's always keeping an ear. He keeps the ear on the industry. Right
down there, John.
Oh, my class.
Tell Jay he's retiring tomorrow, man.
Oh, Jay, first off, listen, I did 25 years in law enforcement. I dealt with 9/11. I lost some close friends in there, but I'm going to tell you, thank you for your service. People don't realize that. Never defund the fire department. Never defund the police. These are first responders. They also get, if they want to take it, the vaccines first. It's a tough world out there. And you know what? When I was a union president I was the PBA president for the police department for my job. I'm going to be honest with you. I did that because I gave a damn, but my passion was always in the power washing industry. I'm going to be honest with you. They retired my shield too as a cop. But my passion's always been in the power washing industry, because I was telling Ron before he came on, I have the quote here, but I started my company from birth, really, and now we're 25 years in. We have a very nice, rock solid company. My wife runs it all. She's pretty much put me into retirement. But Jay, you know what? God bless you. Thank you for your service. And you're going to do well in this industry. And I'll tell you, I was also in the military as well, so I have a pretty substantial background. But Chris Detter said this years ago, Ron. I was at an event with him. I think it was a PWA convention. He was already working for Fleet Wash. He hasn't showed up in a couple of years now. He moved on in his life. He showed up at one of the conventions, the PWA conventions. I don't remember what year. It might have been the year I was doing the Babe Ruth stuff. Somewhere around that time frame, maybe the year after that. And Babe Ruth's family honored him too as well. He walks into the suite. He gets in the suite. No one else is here. Nobody. And this is the problem. The industry forgets the history. I never forget it. Ron never forgets it. History is important to build your blocks, to get things going. He stood on top of a table and he rah-rahed the whole crowd in that suite. And now they realize who he is. And, this kind of stuff is this industry. Pete Marante used to tell me I got it in my blood. Ron's got it in his blood. Look, nobody does more promotion for this industry, Ron. I'm not sucking Ron's ass. Hardcore term. Nobody promotes this industry more than Ron does. Nobody. End of story. No matter what guru you speak to or what long-term person you speak to, it's in Ron's blood to push this industry forward, because this is our legacy. It's really our legacy, Ron, in the end.
I know it is. Hey, John, I want to wrap this thing up in like 5 minutes. So let's speed forward. Maybe, this might be more of a night to talk about a specific group or whatever. So you're around 2011. I just had told you that National Cleaning Expo had every organization in the industry under one roof, okay? And that's where CETA basically brought, that's where the relationship with the PWNA fostered itself. They joined forces there for the very first time. And then there was a lot of talk for years after that. And I think really what expedited them moving together, this is my opinion, I think the force of the UMCC growth-wise was probably a thing to say, hey, man, we need to join forces, because this thing is running on all 8 cylinders. And I just got to say it. They've never run on 8 cylinders, John, and I think you'd agree with me, man. I mean, we've watched these industry organizations. I think the one that's done the best job over a long period of time is by far the IWCA, and I think you probably agree with that.
Oh yeah, they're solid. They never.
Yeah.
I'm a big PWA guy. Of course, you guys know that. I support them, and their membership is getting up there. But IWCA never fell off the wagon. They never slipped back. The problem in this industry, Ron, we can have another discussion on this, because we're all business owners and people let the egos get in the way. And then you find these guys, Robert Hinline, for example, is banned for life for some of the orgs he created. I'm gonna fix that before I'm said and done. But they get their egos in the way, and it's really about not the one, it's the whole. So the IWCA has been rock solid. Peter Artuso, I talked to him on the phone a couple weeks ago. Rock solid. They never wavered. They never fell off. And they also created a standard, Ron, that hook on top of the buildings.
Yeah. Well, John, the IWCA, I think their biggest thing is I can't remember the guy that Chris Detter took over the company that Fleet Wash bought in Georgia.
Yeah. Chris Daltrey, Thomas Daltrey.
Tom was always under the, we're going to build this thing between Boma. We're going to build this bridge. Well, Tom was building that bridge and making millions of dollars with his company in Atlanta. He'll probably tune in that and go, Ron Musgraves, how do you know that? Obviously, because Fleet Wash is the only company they right. It was one of the first ones they bought to do the parking garages, and then they wanted to start replicating it. And they knew the industry was ginormous, John. They knew that the parking garage industry is huge.
Oh, yeah.
But they've never Fleet Wash, thank goodness, has never done real well with it, because otherwise we'd all be washing garages for a tenth of a penny, per square foot. So the bottom line is they were trying to build that bridge between Boma, but really the only one building the bridge was Tom. And that's okay, because he's an independent person. And that's why these orgs somewhat, and we can go back to this, why they don't work is because people in the organizations, and they should be, they're doing stuff for themselves. They're not doing stuff always for the betterment of the entire industry, because we're all independent business people. So what's going to come first? Ourselves. That's just inherent in human nature and in entrepreneurship. But what the IWCA did, and this was what was really clever, is when they got into BOMA, they started writing the standards for those high-rise buildings. And those high-rise building owners were multi-billionaires, and they wanted safety. No one wants somebody to fall off their building and die. Nobody, So it was no joke what they did. Here we go back to safety. And again, John, they didn't want to be risking the deal that they were hiring somebody to be going on their ropes to their buildings or climbing out on a swing stage and fall to their death, because as well as I do, that's headline 5 o'clock. No, that's headline live news as it's happening, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
And that's safety first.
And that's where the IWCA really, got its forks in, not only supplying that information. We, as contract cleaners, we just haven't figured it out. The hood cleaning's got fire protection that they lean on. The fleet washing guys, DOT regulations. House washing guys, pretty much nothing. I mean, it's unregulated.
Not yet.
It's unregulated. And then you've got all these other crafts that we're talking about that really don't have any real standards or practices. And that's part of the problem. A lot of these guys don't understand this. This is part of the problem in the industry. But getting back to the training purposes, this is why the training in the industry has to change. I mean, it has to change. It's got to become better. And earlier on tonight, I was going to tell you this. I'm going to do an event in Atlanta, Georgia, sometime in March, and I'm calling it the Young Guns. And we're not going to have anybody present at this event.
I heard about it. We're
not going to have anybody present at this event that's over 30 years old. No one at the entire event. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to present at the event. We're going to get 8 speakers under 30 years old, and we're going to see how this goes. Now, got a lot of guys, because we differ about this, and we argue about this a lot too. We always say, there's guys that aren't vetted out there. I believe that it's our job as veterans, like Dave Olson, Robert Hindeleiter, and all those old guys did to us. We were young when they were in their prime. I mean, John, that was 25 years ago. We were those
30-something-year-olds. Yeah.
We were 20, 30 years old. You know what I mean? And these guys, they raised us up, they taught us, and then this industry became what it became because they gave us that knowledge. If we don't offer and pass that knowledge on, there is no way that this industry, well, it'll get there. It always will eventually, but it'll get there the wrong way. It'll get there with these mistakes, these things repeating themselves over and over. And what really hasn't happened in the industry is no one's really done that. No one's really thought about, hey, we not only need to respect the veterans out there, and listen to their thoughts, but we also need to respect that there are younger guys out there that have new ideology, new ways of doing things, new ways of using technology, new ways of entrepreneurship that are out there. And I'm going to tell you, it's happening, John, because you and I both know 20-year-old house washers that want to be more than a single operator house washer.
Right.
And they've watched these young guys in the last 3 or 4 years get into business, and they got 10 trucks. You understand? And there's a reason for that. And a lot of it's because, it's like you can't teach an old dog a new trick. And they're not willing to use the technology that these younger guys have grown up with. I mean, they've grown up
so far ahead of us on that.
They've grown up with these things. We used to laugh about it. We said Michael Jordan was born with a basketball, in his hand when he was born. Right. These kids now, man, are literally born with iPads and devices, in their hands. And, when I knew my daughter texted me at 4 years old, she's 4,
Amazing.
and texted me a full-on text message off the iPad, which I didn't even show her how to do. You understand? She was just said, "Hey, Daddy, when you're coming home, I love you." Blah blah blah. And sent me the message. It's an amazing thing. At 4 years old, you're just hoping the kid can tie his shoes and go to kindergarten at 4. You know what I mean? But now these kids, they're just doing so much more. So many more things that.
Well, you know what, Ron? The world evolved. I'm
going to have this event.
Right. People evolve. Listen, we're way smarter than our grandparents were. Our work ethic in America, at the very least, though, is not the same on the labor end. Like my ancestors came from Sicily and Spain and Ireland and whatnot. That's changed. The country needs to get that back. But the most important thing, Ron, I'm listening to everything Ron says. I'm a very good listener. Some people don't think so, but the most important thing, though, Ron wants to do is, and I saw your video today, the young guns. I think that's a brilliant idea. But there's one word that's got to be really, really absorbed here. Vetting. It's the same word. You got to vet. Because, look, we were all newbies at one time. Ron was a newbie 36 years ago. I was a newbie 25, 26 years ago. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But the thing in here is the problem with the world today, in a good sense and a bad sense, we all connect on the internet. Facebook has 3 billion people a day coming on it. Facebook's dominating the world. So we all can connect here. But if you're going to do a young guns thing, Ron, and I know you'll do this, any speaker you bring in there, as long as you can vet them, and Ron, we should do a show on how to vet people. It's not hard. So if they're vetted, you can really have it. You can have it. Listen, you can have a 19-year-old guy that can speak to a crowd that knows exactly what he's talking about. So I'm looking forward to more about Ron's Young Guns. I might even travel down there to see what that's all about, because everybody gives you knowledge. And that's PWR right there. All those.
Yeah, John, I want to really quickly thank these guys, because the only reason we're able to give out these shirts, man, is because of people like Joe Walters, Panhandle.
I may see him next month, Joe Walters.
Jerry McMillan at Scirocco Systems, Stain Sealing Pros, obviously Washmart University, Mr. Pipeline, and Justin Monk SEO guys. I mean, guys, I do a lot of my SEO guys all the time call me and go, Ron, I see you do SEO. You're all over the internet. I have a close to 1 million backlinks. I mean, and look, you're not going to do that overnight. It's not going to happen. No. I've been doing this for 25 years. So, but reality is, guys, is that when I'm not a believer in doing things yourself, I'm a believer in outsourcing things you don't know how to do.
Absolutely.
So if you think you want to run all your social media and do all that stuff, and you're just doing a okay job of it, it's really not helping you much. Get a professional company out there, whether it's Anya Curry, like John loves Anya, or whether it's Justin Monk or Mr. Pipeline, John Majak. I mean, these guys are professionals. One thing about these guys, when we talk about the guys that are, robbing people, John and I have known these guys. They've been in our industry for 20 years. These guys we're talking about. Anya's been in it like, 13, 14 at least?
Yeah, but she comes from a technology background. She doesn't come from power washing.
Well, they had a pressure washing company.
Well, Alex did, but Anya comes from a tech IBM background. Right. So now Alex works. Listen, Alex today works for Anya, because Anya really is great what she does. Of course, I got Tim Fields. You know what? Did
you see this question right here, John?
The average age?
Yeah, Darren's right. I mean, he's right. I love that card, John.
Well, Ron just hit the nail on the head. I believe in doing what people do best. You got to learn how to delegate, which Ron and I know how to do this. Look, I'm a great cleaner. My guys are great. I train my guys. I've been to probably like 55, 57 events. I've held just 2 or 3 of my own. Ron's done hundreds. I learn from the best. So now, like in Tim Fields' case, Tim Fields, I'm going to do a plug because he's the one who gave me this card. I'm going to do a post. We're doing a big building tomorrow. We got hooked in with colleges now because Tim Fields, because he did something for me, a brochure I needed right away. He got it out. Listen, do what you do best and delegate the rest. Yeah, is that Deco?
Mark at Deco Products, yeah.
Mark, great guy.
I don't know a damn thing about Deco Products, but I can tell you this. I like Mark. He's a good guy.
Good guy. I asked Mark, why don't you go to your own business and do your thing? But he's very happy and work for Deco Products.
Maybe we should get him on the show. He's a riot, man. He is a riot.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. We should get him on. There's a lot of great guys. And he's probably in our age bracket. You know, it doesn't just because we're older now, doesn't mean we know everything. But we have a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom. And, you know, one thing I believe in, this is me, Ron, you may disagree. I think people that teach these classes should have 3 to 5 years experience in whatever they're doing. That's my range. I'd rather have you more, but there's no college degree needed. There's no high school education, no GED needed. So I want to see you have at least 3 to 5 years experience in what you're going to teach because, you know, you may be a great orator, but people want to feel your
my problem is, John, is you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. You don't know.
I don't know who said that, but here's the thing. If we don't try, okay, if we don't watch a guy talk to his shoes for 10 minutes, we're never going to know. You know, he might be the guy. He might be the next Tony Robbins, for Pete's sakes. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. And I think that I'm going to do this Young Guns event. I think it's going to be a great event. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. I think these guys are going to find out that I'm a lot to keep up with after hours. They're probably
you're a handful.
They're probably not going to be able to keep up with me, and they won't be able to beat me in pool. So, you know, anyways, that's a challenge to any of them that want to pick me up on that. They're not. That's not going to happen. I'll be. You know what? I'll just use one hand until they can beat me. And if
I play the pool league.
Then I'll use two hands. I'll use one hand until they beat me. You know what I'm saying?
It's all in the stroke. Anyway, got that figured out.
John, I mean, we don't agree on things, but you know what it is? We get along. We're able to get along. We're able to be friends. We're able to disagree and be friends still. I just have a strong passion about. I think that a lot of the mistakes that were made in this industry in the past are that these youngsters have not been given a spot in the industry to basically, you know, I think veterans get intimidated. You know, I think that and I think a lot of it's because a lot of them are doing this for profit. Okay, so they're not doing it. I won't say they're not doing it for the right reasons, but they're worried that. They're worried, I guess, in like anything, it's your competition. You're gonna teach them something that they're gonna take and teach. Man, if these guys only knew that most of the current teachers right now learn this stuff from me for free and are currently selling it. And I mean, and John knows that. You know what I mean? I taught John everything he knows about garage. I'm just kidding, John.
He loves telling me that. Listen, Ron told me some stuff I learned from him. I mean, I took a couple golden nuggets, what Ron said. But I learned from a lot of people. I'm sure Ron's learned from a lot of people. He's got main mentors. Look, one of my biggest mentors was Robert Hinleiter. Still is. But there's some in my father. My father had a company with 150 people working for them, fabricators. So I learned from a lot of different people. But, you know, I support the young people. You know, I'm going to be 60 in May next year. I'm only going to be in the industry for another 20, 25 more years. I'm not going there. I love this industry. But the young guns, really, where you came up with that's an interesting platform. But it all comes down to one thing, Ron. You know this. A lot of young guys today are all brought in on the social platforms. They've been on the iPads like Ron showed. We started with baseballs and hockey sticks in our past. These kids started with computers at 4 years old. My daughter's been on a computer since they're 3. They went to school for that. So, and, you know, they want to become doctors today and everything to the computer. But long as people are vetted, there's too many scam artists in this industry. Oh, what is that? Your 55th birthday? Ryan Lawson, can you hear me?
There you go. You can hear me now.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday cake.
Today?
Yeah, they're all standing around waiting for me. Come here, kids.
Happy birthday to you. Hey, Ron, put your kids in there. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the king of sales.
No, that's funny. That's funny stuff.
Happy birthday, Ron.
Hey, John. You know what? It's a great show. I think we hit this. You know, we got a little bit of the history in there. We obviously missed. We got more to talk about from 2011. Until then, bring it all the way up to date. But, the bottom line is, guys, is that we're doing a Washmart University event. It's on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. John's doing a paid advanced garage cleaning class in a completely separate. You're in a completely separate room, John. You're not even in the main room. You got your own room. And if it gets bigger, then obviously we'll have to do it in the main room. Obviously, the one room holds 150. Your room only holds 50. But bottom line is that, guys, if you're in the Houston area, it's a free event. It's silly not to come out to this thing. Darren White, myself, Jerry, and a bunch of other teachers that I don't want to discredit for not mentioning their names because there's a lot of them. It's a 3-day packed event. We're doing a lot. We're doing actual hands-on stuff. We're going to be able to teach you guys these things. It's a technical training event. This is not just this is not like a normal event where you come in and get a 45-minute spiel from somebody and then they try to sell you their book deal or whatever it is. This is actually showing you the applications and the science of how to wash, how to bid a job. We're going to walk you all the way through this stuff. When I do John's paid sales class, I'm up in my game. I'm going to bring I'm actually going to start next week because I'm going to start with some facility managers and some people, some parking garage groups that actually handle garages. And I'm going to put together some stuff. I'm going to do some live calls like I've done in the past with other stuff. I'm going to do it with garage cleaning. We're going to talk to people. We're going to give them an online. We're going to actually be able to give them a quote over the telephone. And I know John's going to go, "What? You're going to quote a garage over the phone?" I go, "Yes, I am," because they have a budget. And I'm going to find out where their budget's at, and I'm going to show you to find out where their budget's at so that you even know if you even want to go see these people to wash your garage. Because if somebody comes back and says, "I want to charge you $35,000," and they go, "Well, I've only paid $2,700 last year," they need to call the guy that did it for $2,700 if they were happy, because we don't need to waste our time. Because they didn't obviously get the garage washed. They got it, powder caked with some water and, spritzed around some elevator areas and some stairwells, maybe. Right?
Well, yeah, that's true. Let me just close this out because
close it out.
I'm not doing an hour. I want to answer somebody here, Jason Kemper. He said, "What hotel? Oh, dancer. I have dancers in my family too. What hotels are close to the Washmart University? The one that's right on top of it is the Holiday Inn. That's the one I'm going to take. The building's right next door. We're probably going to go to. We might go to Marco's place within a mile down the road, but we'll see how that works out."
The hotels are all on top of the place.
Yeah,
the food places,
the water's there too.
100 food places and 10 bars, you can walk across a parking lot and you're there, man. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, you know what? I'm seeing somebody else here saying Patrick Stephen Levery. Sorry if I mispronounced that. What's the address? 9 hours away, but I'm 15 minutes closer than Trudy. I'm up in New York, people. I'm in Long Island. I'm going to be down in Estero, Florida before they have a winter house down there. So I'm traveling from South Florida. What a great deal, Ron. 177 round trip on a plane. Let me just tell you guys something. We all understand COVID's here. Follow the rules. When you go on a plane, wear your mask. Just do what you got to do. You'll be fine. But I'm going to go from South Florida, shoot past Trudy up in Panhandle, and go all the way back around. I am going to fly. But, there's the Houston airport's right there. So I hope all you guys can make to that. Ron and I love giving people choices. We respect the fact that people don't want to come because what's going on in the country. I have a 100% refund of my garage class up to February 1st. Even though we got all the vendor discounts. We have the my wife's doing all the certificates, not certification, certificates for completion. I'll throw it all in the garbage. If you guys don't want to go, you already paid to get the early bird specials. Because the class will probably go up to $475. I've always done well with these classes. I give a lot of knowledge. A lot of years doing this, thousands of dollars, trial and error, and going to the best classes. So I give it out because that's such a great niche. Ron is running the show for the Washmart University. It's all free. Nobody's pushing sales. It's all about commercial. And you can parlay that into residential because they're going to talk about surf machines, everything else. But if you can make it, just try to come down. Just follow the rules. They say, they give you, when I go on a plane, they give you the wipes to wipe everything down. They already sanitize the plane. Wipe down your seat. Wipe down your tray. Keep your mask on when you have to. If you got a social distance, you social distance. It's not that hard. And most people, I'm going to be honest with you, Ron knows this. most people are succeeding and living their lives. The ones that don't succeed, they take everything for granted. Don't take life for granted. Just do what you got to do, but try to go where we can go to learn from the best people. All right, Ron. We still on?
John, I appreciate you tonight. It was awesome,
Same here,
man.
Ron.
60 minutes and 64 minutes. We went 36 seconds. That's awesome.
A little bit too long, but close.
Hey, guys, everybody check out the Pressure Washing Institute, guys. Look forward to seeing you at Marco's event. The information is there. I put in John's link for the sign up. Thanks a lot, John. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, Ron. Next week. You got it. Happy New